The Hollywood Stunt Driver show at Warner Bros. Movie World isn't very good. Performing at the park since 2014, the current iteration of the show as of 2025 is honestly the worst stunt show I've ever seen. I just rewatched it after over a year, and sadly it was exactly the same. It's basically just this non-stop. Here's my experience with it, some comparisons to older stunt shows, and what I'd like to see next. Before we start, as I know some of you may take this the wrong way, please understand that I have the utmost respect for the performers, and this critique is not knocking them in any way. I know I couldn't do what they do. However, when compared to stunt shows both at Movie World and other parks around the world, there's just something about Stunt Driver 2 that pales in comparison. We got to the park and headed straight to the arena, with the show happening that day at 2 PM. We got there about 10 minutes before it was due to begin, and I was surprised to see it was mostly full. So if you want perfect seats, get there early. After waiting a while and seeing a trailer for Superman for some reason, the show finally started. Two cars come out and drift around, which is cool and all, and then this guy comes out and he tells the audience that they're making a movie and looking for volunteers. They choose 3 from the audience who get up and film a little 2-second clip each for the movie. They also get clips from the audience itself and from a loud, annoying kid, their words, which got a funny response from the audience.
Who's got the loudest child in the stadium?
The kids everywhere went crazy. The whole sequence took about 5 minutes and it didn't feature any stunts. It was basically just like watching a light behind the scenes attraction. It felt very slow paced and honestly wasn't hugely interesting to watch. One of the cars then comes out and does some drifting. Okay, didn't we just see that? The car then drops off the director for the film and they start to film the first scene of the movie, a car doing more drifting, who then gets arrested by the sheriff and his deputy. This is a funny scene and seems like a nod to the old Police Academy Stunt Show that used to be performed here, with silly, slapstick humour that was genuinely quite funny. There's then some more drifting and some more funny moments with the deputy. The next scene is, yep, more drifting, but this time with a UTV too. The deputy does a few more funny jokes here, and then drives away on their own quad bike doing a side wheelie. The trailer for the film is finally ready and plays on screen, and it's basically a generic action movie intertwined with those audience clips filmed earlier. This lasts for around 3 minutes. It's then time for the final scene where the 2 cars come out to race. One of them does a cheeky head start, and then what do? Yep, more drifting. The show then ends, that's it. Now by itself, the show isn't bad. You know, if I saw it at a carnival or something, I'd be completely satisfied. But at a theme park, I just don't think it's up to scratch. It's literally just, a few minutes of drifting with the rest of the 20-minute show length padded by this subpar behind-the-scenes narrative. The pacing was pretty awful, going into a stunt show and sitting there while nothing happens while they film a 2-second clip of a volunteer isn't really hugely fun. Seeing the same 2 cars drift around non-stop is good for the first scene, don't get me wrong, but it gets old really fast, and it's literally just the same thing over and over again. The scene with the comic relief police deputy was enjoyable though, but I wish it played a larger part in the story and actually tied more into the stunts. Now, how does this compare to past versions of the stunt show at Movie World? We had Stunt Driver 1, which opened in 2008. The original show was very similar, but in my opinion, better in almost every way. Choosing audience members to partake actually took place in the pre-show itself, with the teaser movie being about 30 seconds instead of the much longer one we have now, which saved a lot of time. While yes, a lot of the stunts were also drifting, it was a lot more varied and interesting. There were 3 cars on the course at once, more varied vehicles, more varied stunts, fake guns, a cool scene where a car gets cut in half, a scene where the cars do side wheelies, you have the camera doing a dolly shot, and there's even some light fire effects and some big fire effects, and a really fun finale where a car jumps out. Compare this to Stunt Driver 2, and I think you'll agree that it's a night and day difference. Stunt Driver 1 looks like a pretty good show, not world class or anything, but it was completely solid, and something I'd be perfectly content watching at Movie World. Before that, though, we did have a world class stunt show, Police Academy. Police Academy, based on the popular comedy movie series, was Movie World's original stunt show, opening with the park and eventually closing after a 17-year run. This was honestly one of the best stunt shows out there. It featured a ton of different stunts, lots of different performers, and a ton of truly hilarious slapstick moments. And unlike Stunt Driver, it wasn't just about the vehicles, as many of the stunts were performed in person. It had fantastic effects, like this moment where a police car gets set on fire and catapulted, and a fun moment where a guy in a portal Waterloo gets caught on a crane. And of course, don't forget the incredible finale, where a fake helicopter appears and seemingly gets destroyed, sending off a massive fireball, not to mention the guy on fire at the end. Now this is what I call a stunt show. Honestly, if they literally cloned Police Academy and performed the exact same show today, it would be world class, and probably one of the best stunt shows in the world. I mean that. However, today we're currently stuck with drifting the show. I know the current show is popular with a lot of guests, especially some from a certain demographic, but this shouldn't mean we should be comfortable with less, right? Movie World once had one of the best stunt shows in the world. Its replacement, Stunt Driver 1, while not world class or anything, was at least pretty good, but this current version we have today, honestly, I don't think the show in its current state should even be classed as a stunt show. It's more of a driving/car show. Again, I don't mean this in an overly negative way, nor am I personally criticizing the performers or their skills. It's just my opinion based on the constraints placed on the show by Movie World. I only found this out recently, but the show is actually performed by an external group called Showtime, so it's not even performed by the park, it's just contracted out. Again, this show would be good at, say, a smaller park or event or something, which I'm sure is where Showtime usually shines, but at Movie World the expectations should be much, much higher. We went from having, a huge, high-budget show with multiple performers and effects to just having a show with near-identical drifting, and that's it. To be fair, Stunt Driver 2 isn't really in its original state either, as a lot of the effects and stunts have been removed over the years, such as the huge fireball. Now, what would I like to see happen? Well, I'd obviously like to see something of the same caliber as Police Academy return, but I understand that would naturally be a bit difficult these days. But let's work ourselves up. I think a show that's at least on the same level as Stunt Driver 1 would be good enough. There's a lot of themes one could do, but one suggestion I hear a lot in the community is Mad Max, and yeah, that makes a ton of sense. It's a popular IP Warner Brothers has access to, it's set in Australia, and features a ton of cars and characters doing amazing stunts. One would think it would be a no-brainer. It would be a fantastic drawcard to the park, and I'm sure it would, bring in a lot of international attention. Another idea I'm personally a big fan of is having a DC Comics stunt show. I know I've criticized the park a lot for focusing too much on DC, but honestly a show like this would be fantastic and a welcome addition. The park has proven they can put on really good shows featuring the DC characters. Just look at the parade interlude during the DC Heroes and Villains event, and something like this on a larger scale with tons of stunts would be a smash hit. Warner Brothers Madrid in Spain has a similar Batman stunt show, and it looks really, really good. Honestly, I'd much rather see something like this than, drifting cars. If not, I think another generic show, say Hollywood Stunt Driver 3, a show taking all the best aspects from Police Academy and Stunt Driver 1, I think something like this would be a perfectly suitable fit. Let's get more varied vehicles, have them do more than drifting, add in some fun moments like the fake cars, give the in-person performers some more stunts to do, and up the pace of the show's story, as the current one is very, very slow and takes up most of the 20-minute showtime. Something like that would be perfectly acceptable, and it would be a must-do thing for guests on their park itinerary, where currently the show is only really fun if you're into drifting cars, or, to be frank, don't have much experience with what stunt shows at theme parks can be. No offense. I know Movie World can do better. If you want to check for yourself whether it's good or bad, I'll be sure to upload the full POV video of the 2025 stunt show that I filmed, so please check that out if you're interested. I'll leave a link in the description and pinned comment. Anyhow, those are my off-the-cuff thoughts on Hollywood Stunt Driver 2. What do you think? Do you agree or disagree? What would you like to see next? Or should they just stick with the current show? I'd love to hear your thoughts. A big thank you to my YouTube members, the Ogre Bros and the Ogre Sisters, for your kind support. I really appreciate it, and it really helps the channel out. A big thank you to Straws, SW Stevie1, Artie Husky, Matt Jonas, Anti-Furry, TV, Reese is a Bomb, Tristan, Randall, Movies Like Everyone, Liam's Law, Jack W, Carrie Jackalm, Koala75, Mr. Yum, Ches FS, Audrey Allen, Johnny Boy 175, Craig Head, Ashton, Senpai's JP Blue Dog, Skiddy Tonos, Jacqueline Bees, Senpai's JP Red Dog, Gaming with Nicholas, Quacktagonist, and Sudden Someone. Thank you all for your support, I really appreciate it. Thank you for watching, please consider watching another of my videos. I'll be sure to see you there. Have a great rest of your day. Ogre out!